now she's doing a podcast, which we are only listening to. By the way, we're not listening to it.
Right.
Because she's former first lady.
Right.
No one listens to a former lawyer from, I think it was Jenner and Block, do a podcast with her brother on her thoughts on relationships. We're doing it because he made you first lady, but she does not have a kind word for him. It's amazing. Every word she says about Barack Obama is negative. I can't think of her sitting there just waxing poetic about him, complimenting. He's brilliant. He's a great dad. He was the greatest president, whatever a normal wife of Barack Obama would say. Every time she opines, it's something that reflects poorly on him, how he's insensitive, how he's not a talker, how he doesn't know how to relate to people. He doesn't keep the same schedule as she does. And now we're talking about you can have a bad decade in a marriage.
Michelle Obama just got tag-teamed by Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters. And let's just say it wasn't a spa day. 1 minute she's selling juice and dodging politics. The next she's catching verbal uppercuts on live TV. Megyn brought the flames, Jesse brought the shovel, and Michelle brought another excuse. If you thought her Netflix deals were dramatic, wait till you see this roast. It's sharp, it's savage, and it's the takedown she never saw coming. Let's get into the meltdown.
Michelle Obama, coincidentally, is reappearing, hitting the airwaves to push her new book and tell us how awful America's become.
A lot has happened. We've seen a global pandemic. We've seen an insurrection, a rising tide of hate and bigotry and intolerance and a whole lot more. I've spoken to a lot of loved ones, many of you, about what we all seem to be facing. And what has resulted from that process is actually my new book.
Michelle Obama, the woman who redefined the phrase public servant by turning it into a full-blown global lifestyle brand. Not just a former first lady. No, more like America's head of kale, captain of cardio, and CEO of self-righteous eye rolls. She didn't leave the White House. She expanded into every media format short of a TikTok dance routine. And don't worry, that's probably next. Featuring a duet with Lizzo while sipping overpriced fruit juice from her own line of guilt-based beverages.
When you're thinking of victims of this awful world, you think of Michelle Obama and how terrible we've all been to her. This woman is a one-woman destitution derby. Every time we check in on her at her podcast, she is feeling sorry for herself. She is criticizing Barack Obama or this country. She never has a positive word to say about.
Let's start with the branding, because nothing screams relatable American woman like a multimillionaire mogul whose biggest concern in 2025 is which production company gets the rights to film her podcast about not wanting to talk about politics. Right. Because we all accidentally sign Netflix mega deals while trying to be quiet. It's like watching someone write a memoir about being private. 3 books, 2 docuseries, and a stadium tour later. And somehow Michelle Obama is still the mysterious introvert who doesn't want the spotlight. Sure. And Bigfoot hates attention, too. That's why he lives in the woods and signs sneaker deals.
Michelle Obama's letting loose. Too loose. Her new podcast sounds like a confession. First, she said she forced Barack to stop playing basketball. Then she said she wasn't really into him at first. And now she's telling the world they go to couples counseling. Oh, and the White House traumatized her.
You know, I like you, I have believed in therapy my whole life. You know, done couples therapy with.
Then enters Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters, wielding more sarcasm than a teenager at a dinner party. Kelly, who's made a second career out of calling out hypocrisy like it's a full-time sport, basically needed a double espresso and one glance at Michelle Obama's latest self-promotion tour before lighting her up like a Christmas tree in July. You know Michelle's PR team is sweating when Megyn Kelly mentions your name. You can practically hear the interns backstage scrambling to rewrite press releases from authentic voice of the people to deeply misunderstood walking billboard. Kelly didn't even need to go full nuclear. All she had to do was point at the sheer absurdity of it. Michelle, fresh off her 13th talk show appearance of the month, saying she hates politics while also casually name-dropping her new initiative to save democracy with her organic sorghum-based empowerment granola.
But Michelle wants you to remember it wasn't the Obama-Biden White House. It was the Barack and Michelle White House. Listen to how she uses the words we.
I'm so proud of my husband. the way he led, the way his administration worked, the team that we built. So proud of everyone. I think that's because of who we are.
Did she just forget to mention?
And Jesse Waters. Oh, Jesse practically sprinted onto this roast like it was Christmas morning, and Michelle had wrapped him a brand new hypocrisy gift set. Waters doesn't even need facts. He just points at the absurdity with that smirk that says, "I can't believe I get paid to say this out loud." He dove straight into the Michelle myth like it was a vat of untouched arugula. The whole "I don't want to run for office" thing. Jesse compared that to a Kardashian saying they're tired of cameras while filming season 48 of their reality show in 4K resolution. Michelle Obama's entire brand at this point is basically "I'm just like you" if you ignore the mansion security detail and multi-million-dollar podcast network.
Did she drop this podcast to distance herself from Barack so she could run for president? Every politician starts a podcast right before they launch their next campaign. Looking at you, Gavin. And it turns out Michelle wasn't the only one who had problems with Barack when he was in office. Michelle says the kids were embarrassed too.
Every year we'd have the turkey pardoning. And that was the one thing that the girls would do at Barack, was to go stand next to him when he pardoned this turkey. And it was cute when they were little, but as they got older, you could see on their faces in the shots of them thinking, I would just poke my eyes out. Just right now, just get me out of here. I'm standing with my father telling these stupid jokes.
Let's talk about her memoirs because, yes, plural. At this point, if Michelle sneezes, a publisher offers her a $10 million deal to reflect on the emotional journey of tissue absorption. Her first book was the literary equivalent of a Hallmark movie wrapped in self-importance, and it sold faster than hotcakes at a vegan brunch. And just when we thought she had finally said everything she needed to say about her life, boom, another one drops, like a sequel nobody asked for. Imagine becoming Two Electric Boogaloo. But with more garden metaphors and long-winded reflections on the trauma of wearing sleeveless dresses in conservative circles. And let's not forget the Netflix specials. Michelle is now a Netflix star, reality show host, children's show puppeteer, and probably a backup dancer if you dig deep enough.
Very ready to talk Michelle Obama.
Oh, good. She's still just as bitter as ever. There's such a great new, spin of complaints here. Here's one from her most recent episode, which still on YouTube, she's got 200,000 subscribers. It's really amazing that now she's been doing this for how many episodes? She's been literally on every podcast of the left wing promoting it. And that's still all she's managed to get.
Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly is standing there with the expression of someone who's been served a gluten-free, kale-wrapped, Michelle-approved lecture disguised as lunch. She doesn't buy it, and she doesn't pretend to. She calls it what it is: performative sanctimony. Michelle preaches humility while doing press tours with Oprah and charging half a mortgage for a front row seat at her Intimate Reflections tour. Because nothing says humility like needing jumbotrons to connect with your audience. And Jesse, he's not even mad. He's amused watching Michelle parade around claiming not to be political while casually dropping loaded commentary on every hot-button issue like breadcrumbs across her fruit and veggie empire.
I've been wondering where Michelle Obama's been. She snubbed both Jimmy Carter's funeral and Trump's inauguration. And last week, Barack went to a basketball game all by himself. Turns out Michelle's been busy working on a new podcast, and so far, it's been a flop. The first 2 episodes have been up all day and only gotten a few thousand views on YouTube. Half of them are probably primetime producers. But still, Michelle's spilling the family secrets, like how Barry gets on her nerves. Listen.
Barack, he had to adjust to what on time was for me.
Because he was on that island time.
Well, but, I've got this husband who's like, when it's time to leave, it's 3 o'clock, he's getting up and going to the bathroom. And I was like, dude, 3 o'clock departure means you've done.
Oh, and let's not forget the fitness crusade. Remember when Michelle Obama made it her life's mission to force school kids to eat quinoa under the guise of health? Because if there's one thing kids love, it's lukewarm lentils in plastic trays. Parents across the country had to deal with lunchbox revolts thanks to Michelle's anti-cookie legislation. It's like she took one look at childhood joy and said, "How can I ruin this with Brussels sprouts?" Jesse Waters still hasn't forgiven her for the great pizza ban of 2011. And he won't ever. He still has nightmares of limp cucumber slices and shame-flavored hummus.
Little people with their own sense of everything, they mess you up. You love them dearly, but they're a hassle.
What? I mean, there's something wrong with this person. Like, she's seriously depressed. She has the most negative, dark outlook on life I've ever heard from a public figure. Certainly one who's been given so much. Okay, her window into motherhood and having a child, the first thing she says, they mess you up. They mess you up. Maybe that's what happened to her. Maybe she was totally delightful before the 2 daughters came along. I don't know. She clearly is not enjoying motherhood and enjoying being in a marriage. Even less. It's not you if things get hard. It's all hard. It's all hard. This is so...
Then came the juice cleanse. Oh yes, Michelle's wellness empire had to include a juice line because nothing says for the people like charging $20 for a bottle of liquid kale and moral superiority. You can practically taste the elitism. It's organic, fair trade, and infused with vague aspirations. Meanwhile, Megyn Kelly's just over there doing double takes like, wait, is this lady running for president or auditioning for Gwyneth Paltrow's job at Goop? And just when you think Michelle might pump the brakes, boom, here comes another podcast, another series, another chapter in the I'm not doing this for attention cinematic universe.
Michelle Obama's been making her rounds this week, talking about her new book, The Light We Carry. And in one of her interviews, she talks about dealing with the press. Watch.
There'd be some question that would be what I'd call a knucklehead question. You know, and I'd practice my true response. Sometimes just playing it out loud helps to get it out. But then when you put your first gut reaction out there for the world to see and hear, and then you look at it for a minute and you go, if I start with my rage and anger, all I will do is play out my rage and anger, but I won't be able to affect any change. And what I urge young people to do is be rageful, you and own it, but have a plan.
Self-censorship is a big part of politics, and now she has...
The worst part, Michelle keeps pretending this is all organic, as if the multi-billion-dollar media rollout just kind of happened. Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters see through it like a window made of Botox transparency. Michelle isn't accidentally a global brand. She's the CEO of Calculated Humility, the empress of curated authenticity. She cries on cue and sells it on Amazon. Every time she says something supposedly inspirational, you can feel the tension of 1,000 speechwriters trying to sneak in a political dagger between 2 yoga metaphors.
Michelle says her husband doesn't really like people, doesn't know how to talk to him, and doesn't even really care.
When a girlfriend comes to visit, it's usually like, you gotta stay for 2 days because it's going to take us
so much
2
time to come to
check up. Now, Barack's come in, he's come out, and he's like, y'all still talking? He'll sit down for 5 minutes, be like, how are the boys? And the flip side of my husband, right? Because he golfs, and golfing takes as long as the first session of our, it takes 5 hours to golf. He'll golf with his buddies, come back, and be like, how's X? He's good. He's like, what'd y'all talk about? Nothing.
Hate to break it to Michelle, but guys don't get deep on the course. Normally, when someone rags on their spouse, there's usually a little love. Like, Jimmy, he never listens, but he looks cute in his suit. But that wasn't...
But don't worry, Michelle is not running for office. Of course not. She's just rebranding every 2 months, launching 501 faster than a DC intern can update a LinkedIn bio, and casually offering solutions to every national issue on stage with lights, cameras, and multiple outfit changes because, again, she's done with politics. Sure. And Jesse Waters is launching a tofu line. Meanwhile, Michelle's loyal fans clap like trained seals at every heavily rehearsed speech. Megyn Kelly, she's not drinking the Michelle Kool-Aid, or rather the spirulina enhanced, all natural, gluten-free Michelle Wellness Elixir trademark.
Not the vaccine that's causing the autism. Why don't you look at that? They'll never let that secret out.
Good luck with that one.
That may be the key behind all the defunding everything. It's just like, let's just blow it up. And then the old
we can't let them find this stuff out.
Old men can keep marrying 20-year-olds.
Exactly.
It's like, I'll give you the baby you want. What?
Like, what is this? This is just some grievance fest again with two of the most privileged women on earth who are really bitter against men because now we're trying to say it's old male sperm that causes autism. Like, I don't even understand it, but it's typical leftist.
Michelle says she's tired. Oh honey, we're tired. Tired of the moralizing, the speeches about rising above politics right before launching a passive-aggressive attack on everyone who doesn't share her ideology. Tired of the media pretending Michelle invented grace, motherhood, and arugula. Tired of pretending we're not watching an extended campaign commercial dressed up as a self-help session. Even her Instagram is a curated fever dream of vibes and virtue. Jesse Waters and Megyn Kelly just keep roasting, not out of malice, but out of sheer disbelief that we're still playing along with the charade.
Michelle put down some ground rules for the interview. After the biggest election in the history of the country, her words, not mine, Michelle said, "Don't ask me about politics." Michelle's only allowed to be asked about her new book, her new Netflix show, and her new fruit juice brand. Not very maha. Michelle's got to push products. It's the new golden age, remember? It's almost like she's saying life goes on. The whole democracy is on the line was just
Michelle says she doesn't miss the White House, but her press schedule says otherwise. You don't miss the game and then sell popcorn at every arena. You're not trying to stay out of politics while casually redefining American culture, one heavily sponsored speech at a time. You're not a reluctant hero. You're just an enthusiastic brand ambassador for yourself. So, no, Michelle, you're not just trying to help. You're trying to run the entire emotional economy, one inspirational anecdote, one low-carb snack, and one pretentious podcast at a time. And Megyn Kelly and Jesse Waters, they're not falling for it. They're handing out popcorn while the rest of us finally admit what we've been thinking for years.